Hey guys, welcome to Camry Under the Hood. I'm Lee, and today we are borrowing a customer's car. This is a little unique, little customer interaction a couple of weeks ago. She had a flat tire, blah 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 blah. Anyway, she let me borrow the car today. I love my gas cars. I've worked on gas cars now for over 28 years, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to mess with an electric car. And she was like, "Yeah, you can borrow my car for today. Play with it, drive it, do whatever you want." And I thought that'd be pretty fun. It's not every day you get to work or take somebody's car for a drive. Usually I'm working on a customer's car and then they get a test drive at the end of the day. So anyway, we borrowed this Lexus. This is a Lexus 3. And for me, I'm just gonna get inside, play around with the dash, see what little differences there are from what I'm used to driving. You know, I've told you in other videos that we've got some older cars, old Mercedes, Volkswagens, things like that. And I'm just curious. I'm sure there's plenty of other people that have never driven one or been in one or anything like that and maybe curious. Just electric in general, not necessarily has to be Tesla. It just, this is what my customer had and was willing to let me borrow. So we'll jump in, play around, and at some point go for a test drive and post it all, and just give me some comments. Tell me what you think. I'm leaning towards electric cars as an alternative. I can definitely see some pluses about it. I love what electric classic cars doing in the UK with their classic car conversions. Went to visit those guys last year. Love the facility and the guys. They're all great. And I could definitely see doing some of those things over here in the States. Like, I'm just going to show you here a little bit. The old 9041, like something like this has so much room for something like that. Dropping a motor in the front and the battery pack on top, inverters, and the trunks are so huge, and even like underneath the bench seats. I mean, I could totally see why somebody might want to, you know, get a salvage one of these, strip it, you know, and convert something like this. And I know some people are going to be like, "That's sacrilege, never do such a thing." But you know, if you do it right, you could put it back to a gas car and not really affect the value of the vehicle. You know, you just store all that equipment, and then if you want to go back, it's totally an option. But you know, old cars, they always need a little bit of maintenance. You know, who wants to get in on a wet, miserable day and go for a drive, or in the middle of the summertime you get down the road and all of a sudden you're broken down and then you're sitting there waiting. You know, with one of those conversions, it's just literally you just get in and go. I could see the potential for that. But for today, I'm just going to take the Tesla for a drive, play around in it, and just for me that's never driven one, just see the differences. And do I like it or do I not? Do I want to stick to what I got? Probably, but we'll play around with that today. And but anyway, let's get into it. So playing with this Tesla here, learning how to start this. I'm sure, well, lots of people know about this, but I'm a petrol head, so this is something new to me. So I'm going to try and start this car and just kind of watching what it does. Okay, I guess put my key in there. Definitely a little strange. And then we're going to pull this into the shop and have a little play around here. This is definitely different from me. Let's go here. Yes, I know, I don't have my seatbelt on. What a naughty boy. Okay, so here we are back in the shop now. So this is all really weird to me. I'm, you know, used to your normal gas engines. This is the first electric car I've got to drive, thanks to my customer letting me borrow the car here for the day to play around with it and make this video. Hopefully you guys like it. But the first thing I noticed, which is really strange, is there's no instrument cluster at all. It's all over here. And for you Tesla drivers, I know this is normal, you're used to this, but for
for me, just driving a regular gas engine, it's just a bit strange, you know. I'm just so used to looking straight ahead and seeing my speed and temperature gauge and all my things right there. It's just a little peculiar. It kind of different. And then going for my door handle, I'm like, where's the door handle? Where is it? Oh, it's a button. I mean, yes, is there a manual handle down here? Yes, there is. But it's, you know, it's very futuristic, and I kind of get the concepts. There's definitely some things in here. I think I noticed more when I got to look at an older one at one point. A lot of it reminded me of a lot of the European cars, like the Mercedes back in the day, you know, like the shifter here. They're all very similar things, and just some of the features with the windows where they kind of, the window will drop down and pop back up when you close the door, reminds me of the Mercedes back in the day if you had a convertible and things like that. So my first impressions inside the car, I kind of like it. It's definitely sleek and smooth and nothing too crazy, and this whole screen setup is kind of different. I mean, you know, it's definitely a lot going on out here. I do like the size of it. It is kind of very easily navigation, you know, to navigate through it, and obviously very distracting when you're going down the road, but it's also very easy for the passenger. We did take this for a little drive last night, and my daughter was sitting in the side, and it was quite easy for her to kind of go around through the screens and play around, and you know, her not having to reach across too far. And yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of like how much different options you have playing around. There's different seats. I love the fact that the rear seats all have the option of heat. I know the girls love that. I mean, who doesn't love to have a warm bum when you're driving down the road on a cold day, especially with like this leather, pleather, whatever you want to call it. You know, all your different features you can play with. You're calling up your service, you charge, you know, all the information there. It's just, you know, it definitely, I like the options and the features, playing with the steering wheel, stopping modes, all, you know, as a mechanic wise, being able to control a lot of the stuff in the car, even though it's an electric car, where you just feel like you can definitely just get in, you know, select drive and go. But I still like the fact that you can still play around a lot. That's pretty fun. I like that option. And, you know, letting you know what your charging was, what the drives for your current drive was, and all of these different little features. It's kind of fun. And the thought of, I'm just sitting here with everything on right now, and I'm not got my car running in the shop. You know, I could close the door right now and still mess around with this car and not worry about gassing myself out. That's kind of fun. Okay, so we're obviously outside the car now. I just wanted to note a couple of other things that I thought was kind of a little different than a gasoline vehicle. Getting into the car, obviously the handles are a lot different. I think most people know about that. But obviously I'm borrowing the car for the weekend, so I don't necessarily have an app on my phone or anything. So we do have the key, which was really peculiar to just hold it in a certain place. See, I've just locked the car up. It's, you know, very futuristic, and I think that's what a lot of people say about this. You know, and then putting it back in that same spot unlocks the car again, which, if you're, you know, I guess the video is for people that have never had too much close contact with a Tesla, which I haven't. I've seen many of them, know some customers that have them, as well as some other vehicles they've got. So for me, it was just wanting to see what it was like, you know. What does that mean, having an all-electric car? You know, what is that like? You know, yes, there is no key anymore. You don't put a key in ignition. Or, you know, a lot of cars still have a key in the button to turn it on and off and lock it, where this one, it's none of that. Right here, we've got nice early 1941 Chevy Supreme Deluxe. or Special Deluxe, sorry, Supreme Deluxe. That sounds like a burger joint, or something on the burger menu. So you might have seen a couple of little clips of this posted before, in the little reels and stuff. But yeah, this is another customer's car, so you know, it's kind of fun being a mechanic. These are the kind of things you get to work on sometimes. See, you get to work on a classic, pretty early on, really, 41. It's kind of fun, and this is really fun to drive. A little different, 3 on the tree. You get in this, it's kind of 3 on the tree. It's park, drive, and reverse, you know, and neutral. So yeah, just kind of a little different, right? You know. All right, so here we go. We're going for this test drive now. So one of the things I notice is when putting it in drive, you know, some cars have a little roll forward bit, but it's put your foot down and you can kind of feel it pull straight away and pull off, and then that immediate slow down without touching the brakes is it's a little bit of different getting used to there. I kind of like it. I guess it takes a bit of getting used to, like how quick it does actually slow down if you completely lift off on the accelerator. And as for everything else so far, I mean, it's pretty much the same. I'm still missing my instrument cluster. Those are little things that you just so get used to after driving for many years. Although you do get used to where the speedometer is pretty quick. You know, I mean, it is still in your line of sight right there, so it's, you know, it's not so bad. I do like the response on how quick it really does take off. I mean, it really does kind of put you back in the seat. It reminds me a little bit of when I was a kid and got to go out in an MR2 for the first time. I think it was like an 87. It was like I think they came out in 86, and I just remember them taking me for a ride and putting his foot down and just planting me in the seat as a kid. You know, now that permanent smile on your face from the driving, it was just pretty fun. It kind of gives me that sense, that similar of like, oh my gosh, I'm in my seat. I can only imagine with the S and the Plaid, when I think they have an insane mode or whatever they want to call it, where it's basically just full on power. I can only imagine how much fun that must be. You know, being a bit of a petrol head, you know, you like that oomph. I've driven some fun cars in my time. Nothing Ferrari or Lamborghini wise, but you know, definitely some M3s, M5s, and the Mercedes AMGs, where you know they really plant you. So I could imagine with the Plaids and stuff like that, how you really sink in your seat. That would be a lot of fun. That instant power like that. I mean, yeah, who doesn't get a kick out of that? I mean, I do. I would definitely get some more of that. That would be pretty fun. So, but we're on the drive here, and otherwise, I mean, you know, it's a pretty comfortable drive. I like how responsive the steering is. It's you know, it handles really nicely. There's a few little tiny rattles with the fitting of the plastic inside, you know, but it's not brand spanking new. It's got some age on it, so you know, it's a little worn. I think this one's got about 100,000 miles on it, which doesn't seem like it's much for the electric cars these days. This one has the long range. I think on a full charge, 150 or something like that. So she gave it to me. She said she just fully charged it, and it was about 138. And she's noticed now with 100,000 miles on, after that first initial full recharge, it does drop pretty quick in the first 20 miles or so. Just that do dissipate pretty quickly, that charge. But I mean, I've kind of been driving it around, and you know, I haven't even thought about the battery or charge. I mean, but if you've got 230 miles range and you live on a small island like this, where it's like from one end of the island to the other island, it's 20 minutes drive. It ain't nothing.
So I mean, that's, you know, good 2 weeks of driving, if depending on what you're doing and how often you're going for a drive. So I definitely get a kick out of that. That would be nice, especially with the price of gasoline on our island too. You know, once you're getting close to $6 a gallon, you know, and you're driving cars that only have 12 miles a gallon, I mean, yeah, having something that you just plug in at home, and I don't even need to do all the price comparisons with electric charge compared to gasolines. There's plenty of other guys done it out there. I know Richard in electric classic cars, he did a comparison with his, and honestly, you're just saving all around. So I get it. I totally get it. It's fun. So, and it drives comfortable, you know. Screen's great, plenty to see. Here's some of the view of where we're at right now. Pretty nice island to drive around on. So,
we're going to wrap up this video on the Tesla test drive borrow for the weekend, just to see what these electric cars are all about. My overall opinion is it's pretty fun to drive for people that like to drive cars and get a kick out of just driving a car, and enthusiasts basically. I think it's quite cool. The amount of different options of changing settings and setting the car up how you kind of like it. That's pretty unique, and I really like that aspect of it. I still feel like range might be an anxiety thing, but for me on the island that we live on, I don't think that would ever come into a factor. The local store has a charger, you know, we charge at home, we drive like 3 miles, 10 miles, it's nothing. Overall, I really kind of enjoyed my time with the car. We got quite a kick out of it. I probably took a few more drives. I only posted one out of this video, but we did a couple of drives in it, took the family out in it, and the girls loved how the heated seats were in the rear as well as in the front. Overall comfort level was pretty great. As for the aspect of the electric side of it, the screen, we had to mess around with that a bit just to kind of get it so at nighttime driving it wasn't just glaring in our eyes. Dark mode was pretty nice. So again, it comes down to being able to really dial the car into your preferences, which was really nice, which is a little different than your regular gas car. You know, a lot of that, you really got to have a brand spanking new car to really be kind of messing with that. But as for older cars, there ain't that much options. What I felt like a lot of being specialized in Europeans for a long time, I felt like it definitely was more of that higher end level vehicle, like an old Mercedes or a BMW. From what I was used to working on, a lot of the settings and features had that Mercedes and BMW feel to it, and Audis. So if you're used to driving those kind of cars, I think a natural transition to an electric like this, I don't feel like you'd feel a lot of difference. I feel like your transition would be pretty easy, i.e. why I think a lot of people that own the Teslas have previously owned vehicles like that. There's a a lot of similarities, basically. So, but overall, it's been a great weekend. I've had fun driving it around and playing with it, and finding the open resources for repairs on the Mercedes, on the Tesla, which is kind of cool. So I did a little diving online to see what, you know, if something broke, how could I fix it? Could I fix it myself? Do I have to pay for extra software? And finding that I didn't. So yeah, it's been fun. Send me your comments, send me your likes, subscribe if you like too. Any of that kind of stuff. Hit me up with some questions. I need some more feedback on these videos. I want to keep doing more, and tell me what you think and what you'd like to see me do next. So yeah, thanks. Like and subscribe, guys.